Well, it's Christmas time again, Bill. I suppose you've spent Christmas in some pretty funny places.
You're right, I have. I suppose as far as I can remember, I never had a Christmas in the same place. I was always nomadic.
Well, with all these Christmases you've spent, Bill, I suppose there's one that stands out in your memory. Why don't you tell us about that? One above all, you know, that you'll never forget.
Yes, I remember the best one I ever had in my life. The one that absolutely sticks in my mind was at a place called Manangora. That was on the Weeran River in the Gulf of Carpentaria. A mate of mine, Horace Foster, we used to trade up in Arnhem Land. All in that country with big luggers. They were 45-footers. We used to lay up at this great place. There was this place with high cycad palms, and we had our bark humpies there, all lashed down with the vines, and it was a wonderful place. We had a garden, too, and goats. And the lads, we'd got word from a footwalk black man. He'd come over from Burulula to tell us by letter. It was about 50 mile he come to tell us that the boats that was bringing our food was not going to arrive.
What, your Christmas
yes,
tucker?
It was just their Christmas tucker. It was about another week or so to go. And here the boats hadn't arrived, so we didn't know what to do. So the natives of the place, they decided they'd go on a walkabout. The men that belonged to the islands, they took their big canoes and down they went with their sails. And the others that come from the mountains, they went up into the mountains to see their friends up there. And there we were, sitting there. And then suddenly the monsoons come in, these big monsoons. They blow with frightful force, and the waves come sweeping in on the sea. We were only 7 miles off, and the river come roaring down. It rained about 20 inches in 24 hours. You ought to see the water coming down. And there was our boats. Fortunately, they were in a big backwasher, and they was right. And it washed away our garden, and the goats, they got away onto an island on the other side. And there we were, the old aged and infirm that couldn't go away. They were with us, and there we were sitting. The tops of the roofs of the houses got blown, and all the little bit of stuff we had, bush tucker, was damaged. And there we were, and it was Christmas Eve. I'll never forget that time. It was real, there we were, real despondent. We couldn't see anything. Naturally, we couldn't see any smokes rise, and there we were, waiting Christmas Eve.
Well, that didn't look like much of a Christmas. What happened then?
Well, just as we were glum, we could hear the great conch shells. They're a kind of a trumpet shells that the canoe people carry. And they put them to their mouth, and they go, whoop, whoop. And as they did, one of the old women that was there, she come hobbling along on a stick, and she peered down. She said, the canoes are coming. And we looked down the river, and you could see the light come through. The sun seemed to break into the river, and as it does, we could see the two great big canoes that we had coming up, all full of men. And there was the great big lateen rigs. The wind was blowing right behind them, and they were coming against the roaring torrent. They kept over onto the eddies, and they used to come along slowly, and then they'd creep around, and as they did, the old women watched, and presently they blew the conch shell again, this big trumpet shell, and then one man stood up in the canoe, and as he did, we see them lift their hands and lower their paddles. And we was watching, and the old woman said, one dugong. And he lifted it again, and he lowered it again. She said, two dugongs. And they blew the great trumpet shell again, and she said, we knew that they were coming with these big things. We knew that we was having something for Christmas. They're great big mammals that live on the seed banks outside and live on the eelgrass. They weigh about 800 weight.
I bet there was a lot of excitement in the camp when they saw those canoes coming, wasn't there?
Well, native women, they darted away into the bush to get a bit of wood that was around this little island place we were on, and soon they were making it up in our big fireplace we had there. We was building great big ground ovens. You know, they're made with, you build a great fire, and then on it you put these stones, and then the thing might be about, they're only about 6 feet high. And you put it in a little round hole, and while all the stones was heated, heating away and everything was going, some other women were bringing bushes that they used it for flavouring it. And then the canoes, after that time, they came over to the place, and then the men got out. They'd been hard work, you know, with pulling paddles and helping her up. And there one of them come up and he handed us a letter. And while they were rolling up these big dugongs, they rolled them like barrels. They're great big things. They're rolling them up the beach onto where the cooking places were. We had a letter. Another man was carrying a great big bag. And in it, he handed us a letter from old Cayenne, the Chinaman of Burulula. And in it he read in his crabbed hand that he was sending us a Merry Christmas. And it was a big bag of sweet potatoes that he was sending us and some tea and sugar.
Oh, it was handy, wasn't it?
Oh, too right. We never had any ourselves, so naturally we all waited around, and we cut up the dugong in great big slabs with a skin on it, you know, and we laid them down getting ready for all the stones to heat. While it was on, we were eating some of the delicate parts. The infants went to the natives, and the dogs were running around eating theirs. And while this was going on, then gradually, when everything was died down, we put a layer of stones, and then a layer of these demalang bushes that give it flavour, and then we used to dampen in a great layer of meat, and then some more stones and more meat. We made these great big earth ovens, and then round them we put about half a bag of sweet potatoes. And then when we done that, we got paper bark that's in that country, and we covered it over the lot, this great big mound of flesh. It'd be anything up to about 700 pound of meat.
Good
And
heavens.
while we were doing, then over that we'd put dirt. All this would be putting over. All the natives would be there beating the mounds, you know, and they'd put dirt on it, and then they'd beat the thing down all the time. Of course, while I was sleeping that night, the black fellows would be in there, women would be singing away, corroborating and telling them how they got this big dugong, and the dogs would be yapping around, and everybody would be happy. And there we were, and naturally it'd be up early in the morning, just as the dawn come. We'd be out, and the little kiddies, you'd see them round this great big old oven, and they'd be smelling at the steam coming out, and, you know, slapping their lips and all that there. So
This was Christmas Day.
yes, this is Christmas Day. There we were at this Christmas Day, so down we went, and we took off the sand and the dirt off the top of this, the ceiling sand off the top of this great big oven, and swept it off with bushes on the ground. And when we'd done that, then we'd gradually take the bark off. We'd always keep that and spread it back so that it'd be like huge big dishes. We'd spread it all round the oven. Then when we'd done that, we'd take off the great big layers of meat. The first layers would come off and be put down, all in their juice and smelling. Oh, golly, it was cracker-tucker. And there, but then we'd bring off the potatoes, and then it would be all round. And while we were doing this, we heard a cooey, and we looked up, and here we could see the big stone country. Our people were divided into two blocks, stone country and the saltwater people. And here they were coming in, these people. They were coming down too. Little girls and boys, you could see them naked coming in, carrying paper bark dishes on their heads full of honey. Some of them had roast duck, you know, that they'd caught, and the men come in with geese that they got, the big magpie geese, bringing them in. And there they were. Everybody brought in their tucker. They were bringing it in, you know, because they wanted to be there. They knew it was Christmas Day that day, strangely enough, and they'd heard from the others, and so they were down. And there we all got round. We laid it all out in this big mass of paper bark, and boy, was it a tucker. There were 70 of us there that day, 70 of us eating the meat. You could tear into it as much as you like and fill yourself up, and the natives would be eating and wiping their hands, you know, when they got greasy in their hair, which they do for a towel like, and we were boxing on to the scran, and everybody's happy. The dogs was naturally running around, and
You made the
tea, and we went and got two great big kerosene tins of water and put them on the fire, and we made tea and put sugar in it, and everybody had a drink of tea, which is the real Christmas time, that is. And there we were, and I think that was, to me, was one of the great. I think the old Chinaman, you know, way back in Boolaloo had sent us the bag of potatoes, and the black men had got the dugong from the sea, and the others had brought in the foods from the bush. Ah, that was a Christmas to me. It was one of the great Christmases I've ever seen, because it came straight from the human heart.